Soccer, football, the international language, you're never alone with it, no matter where you are. You could be in a bar, you could be in a restaurant, you could be out shopping. You could run into someone and you start talking football. That scenario happened to me several months ago. And as it turned out through my research, all knitted together. So I had to get Spencer Weir-Daley onto Sporting Denver to find out more about an amazing story just with him and his international team. Spencer, Swizz, how you doing, mate? Welcome to Sporting Denver.
How you doing, Rich? Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Long time. Long time.
Yeah, and we've done a little bit of catch up, mate, with our
Definitely.
very interesting meet up prior to last Christmas. Hey, I'm going to go
Yeah,
straight into it, mate, if that's all right with you.
yeah.
Um, what boots do you wear, mate? I always ask that
What
question
boots do
first.
I wear?
Yeah, mate.
I'm just known for one pair of boots since I turned pro. Nike Tempos. Never change. Till the retirement. Nike Tempos.
That's your gig,
Preferably
right?
black.
Well, obviously they work, mate.
Oh, they've done all right. They've done okay.
Hey, I'm good to go straight into the international scene. If you want to elaborate on our chance meeting
Yeah,
last December,
yeah,
I've done a bit of research and where I am with the CONCACAF um, organisation,
yeah.
and you just started telling me a story. So please go ahead and tell everyone, our supporters, the story about the Montserrat international team.
No, well, basically, I've always known of my Montserrat roots. That's my granddad. He moved to England in the 60s. And I've always known about my Montserrat roots, but obviously, Montserrat, they weren't really known for being a strong footballing nation.
Right.
So, it's never really something that I sort of I actively pursued because I could have qualified for other nationalities like USA and Northern Ireland through my grandparents.
Right.
But the Montserrat thing, basically, I just got an email one day out of the blue, and it says like, we know about your roots, and we'd like you to come down and sort of have a trial. But what got my attention, it was very professional because there had been some rumors that the Caribbean football wasn't as professional. So, and it couldn't be further from the truth when Montserrat got in contact with me.
That's where were you when they contacted you, Spence?
I was just sitting at my desk, sitting at my desk on Facebook, and I just got an email, and then it came through, and I was surprised that they knew, and then they just says, look, we're holding football camps, and we're doing a football camp at Leighton Orient's training ground, and
Right.
then I thought I liked the sound of that, and I went down, and then from there we got invited to St George's Park as well. So that was a great experience. England, the England national team, and here's little Montserrat with a population of 5,000, turning up at St George's Park.
Right, which is the headquarters of the English Football Association, right,
Yeah,
mate?
yeah.
So when you first went down to Leighton Orient, which for our listeners in East London, uh, what was the first thing that happened down there, and how long was that camp for, mate?
The camp was for a few days, and all the players got together. Some players knew each other. Some
Yeah.
players had never like met each other before. You met some interesting characters. A few of them are commenting now on the live feed. But yeah, it was no, it was really good, and we just sort of trained together, and we just basically seen what kind of numbers we've got and what positions, etc. Because, like you say, we're not blessed with the biggest numbers, being that
Right.
it's a country of 5,000 people.
So this initial get together, this camp, mate, was it predominantly like with your hereditary, of course? Was it a group of UK lads? Was the
Yeah,
any was there anybody there from other parts of Europe, mate?
no, it was purely it was all UK based guys. So it was people who have got sort of parents or grandparents from Montserrat.
Sure.
So that's why our team is the bulk of our team is based in UK.
Right. That's very interesting. So from going to Brisbane Road, Lake Norient, East London,
Yeah.
did they? What did they do from there to get you all to St George's Park? What was the transition of that, mate?
Basically, whoever impressed during the training sessions, they got invited to another camp in February 2015 at St George's Park.
Yeah.
So obviously, everyone wanted to be a part of that, and obviously, they was trying to perform well. So we got invited there, and then the main thing was there was some World Cup qualifiers in 2015 in March, and that's what everyone was trying to be a part of. Out of about 40 players, I'd say.
I can only imagine, mate, your excitement of playing in World Cup qualifiers. One, doesn't matter where it is on the planet, you're playing in a World Cup qualifier. What was the procedure then, Spencer, from the transfer from St George's and the preparation? Where did you go for those qualifiers, mate?
Well, we was drawn against Curacao, and to make it even more exciting, Patrick Kluivert was their manager. So
That's not bad. Did you get to meet him?
Yeah, we got to meet him.
Is
He's
he
next
cool?
to him in the tunnel. Big Pat.
Yeah, big Pat, right.
Big Pat.
He had a decent career, right?
Yeah.
Not
He
bad.
did not too bad. Barcelona and that on the CV. But that the Curacao is actually a Dutch colony, so that's who we
Gotcha.
lined up against. So we got to line up against them, but before that, you had to make the 23-man squad.
Sure.
So I was honoured to get that call.
How did that game go then, mate?
It was a bit of it was an upsetting game, to be honest. We basically lost 2-1 in the first leg away from home. Not to make excuses, but there was some dubious refereeing decisions.
All right.
But we got them back at home, and then unfortunately it ended 2-2. But they scored in about the 87th minute.
Oof.
So we just lost out. We lost out with like 3 minutes to go. And Curacao, they are a strong team, because they're basically how we're of English descent. They're of Dutch descent, so it was more like a slightly lower league England v Holland, if you could say that.
Right, but it's still World Cup, mate. So you got that on your CV. So what was the progression from that first initial game? Your emotions of playing in that game to, if you can fill in the blanks for me, to where the international team of Montserrat is right now. So if you can go through that, that'd be great, mate. It's a great story.
No, well, basically, I thought it was all over after that. I'll be honest. It was a good experience, and 3 years had passed, and things had went quiet on that front. So I thought it was all over. And then basically the core of the group, because we've got such a tight bond, we all stayed together. We stayed in touch. And then we heard there's the Nations League. So we was thinking, what's this? And then we found out there's a league of 34 teams, and there's 6 more fixtures. So it's whoever was actively still playing and keeping themselves fit at that time and playing at a decent level, they had contention to be called up for that. So it's like the journey was on again, because initially I thought it was just a one-off experience.
So you've gone through your playoff games. What was your first goal, mate?
My first goal was our first win in the Nations League.
Nice.
I don't know, probably the best goal I scored.
So it's a tap-in then, right?
No, it weren't a tap-in. I usually get a few tap-ins, but this one weren't. Top corner against Belize, and then to be fair, it's just that was like a dream come true. They're goals that you dream of, right, especially on the international stage.
Absolutely. So, in a nutshell, Spence, the Montserrat organisation, professionally run. have to work with the limitations in terms of personnel.
Yeah.
They've got all you guys together.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell all our followers and supporters exactly where you're at right now? Because I'm a Montserrat supporter, mate, so I need to know.
Yeah, well, we've had, like, I like to mention as well that the manager Willie Donachie, played loads and loads of games for Scotland, played for Manchester City.
Correct.
He deserves a lot of credit as well for basically organising us. And also Lenny Hewlett, he was the original manager, but I believe Willie's took us to that next level in organising the team and setting us up. But right now, it was an emotional roller coaster because we've beat teams like Belize, we've beat teams like Aruba, Cayman Islands, and we've pushed Salvador to like the dying seconds of games where we've played in front of 20,000. And to be honest, we've had a lot of support all from around the world. We've had messages from Italy, from all over the Caribbean, from Europe, because we're the underdogs. It's not too long ago that Montserrat was getting beat 7-8-0 on a regular basis, but we've changed the narrative, and basically we missed out on goal difference. It was unjust in our eyes because Guyana, they got given a 3-0 default win, and that knocked us out of the top 10 on goal difference, which would have let us qualify for the Gold Cup, but we'd have been playing against Mexico, Canada, USA, and that's like the equivalent of getting to the World Cup for Montserrat, because
absolutely
our nation is 5,000 people. So we're the underdog, the ultimate underdogs, and to be even winning games in the Caribbean and beating teams from Central America like Dominican Republic, St. Lucia, we've really come a long way. And as it stands, before the coronavirus, we've got a playoff with Guatemala. So as it stands, we're on course to try and redeem that unjustness of the 2019 Gold Cup to qualify for 2021.
So there's a bit of incentive, a bit of payback there, Spence, on and from Sporting Denver. With all due respect to Guatemala, we are neutral in what we do, but I'm gonna have to put 10 quid on you, mate, for a win on that, and super good luck. Do you know when possibly that game might come around, mate?
I'll be honest, I can't say. It was due for I think the 23rd of March, but we're just playing like a waiting game like the rest of the world right now. But it's a two-legged game against Guatemala, and the boys are in good spirits because we have got a really good team.
I'm aware. Hey, do you want to give some of the lads a mention, mate?
Yeah, there's a few lining up on my live feed. Woodsy, Bradley Woods, my roommate Michael Dewberry. They've got our captain Lyle Taylor. He's had a great season for Charlton. Been scoring non-stop. So we've got the Comley brothers, Adrian Clifton. We've got guys of caliber in the team. Messiah McDonald, another striker, Nottingham boy. So we've got a good team. We've got a really good team, and we like being underestimated. So that plays into our hands. But I think people are starting to take notice that it's not little sort of Montserrat. But we stay humble, but we work hard.
I'm fully aware of that, and I've just seen come up on the screen Richard Jeffers.
Oh, Jeffers.
Yeah, mate, I can't repeat what he's put on it, mate. So we'll
Jeffers.
Hey, let's backtrack. 10 years old, mate. Came into the pro game as a youth at 10 years old. Tell us how that all started, and give us insight into that, Spence.
Yeah, basically, it all happened quite fast, really. Played for my local team.
I've got to stop for all the mums and dads out there. That, mate, that melts people's
The
hearts, mate.
Ronaldinho hair.
There you go, mate. Yeah, sorry,
And the
mate, I
teeth as
interrupted
well.
you. Yeah, carry on, mate.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'd played one game for Leicester Nirvana. That's my local team.
Right.
But then I didn't really like it. I'll be honest. You know, it weren't a great time. So I decided to leave. It weren't a good decision at the time. You know, my local friends in the area said, "Why are you going to that team for?" But I went there, and it was just great. I just hit the ground running, scored 30 odd goals in my first season,
Right.
and then I just got a message that I'd been scouted, and you know, I just went down to Forest. Mel Hackett, he spotted me.
Legend.
Mel Hackett, he's a legend. You know, spotted so many players. You know,
Correct.
Jermaine Genius, Michael Dawson. The list goes on with him through Forest, and Tom Huddleston, James Perch. You know, he's known for spotting players, and I just had a trial, and everything just went really well for me in that trial. And then I got the letter to say I'd been signed up, and then that was it. Under 11s, I didn't actually want to leave. I wanted to stay with my local team, but I realised it was a good opportunity.
Who's your local team? I never knew that, mate. Who's your local? Who do you support?
Oh, my local? No, I mean my club team.
Okay.
I wanted to stay with them. It was Seaton 91. I started with Leicester Nirvana, then went to Seaton 91,
Gotcha.
and they deserve a lot of credit because they really looked after me. You know, it was a team that was out of my area, and you know, it was the managers took care of me there.
So, can you tell our followers and supporters your progression through the ranks right through the years, Spencer?
Yeah, it was just, you know, it was just pressure every year. You know, not in a bad way, but every year. You know, I remember my nana and my mum, they'd be like waiting for the letter to come through the post, you know, every year. You know, has he been kept on? Has he been kept on? And then you'd be like, yes, you know, you get to 12 years old, then you get a 2-year contract, 14, another 2 years, 16. And it's just non-stop progression, trying to get through the ranks and through the teams. And then, you know, you go full time, you leave school, and then before you know it, you're getting paid, you know, to play football, even though it's little pocket change at the time.
Right.
It's like a dream come true to get paid to play football, and you don't really realize how lucky you are. And you know, and then the next aim is to try and get on that first team pitch. You walk past the first team pitch every day, and you think, oh, if I'm lucky enough, I'll be on there in 2 or 3 years. And then it goes all out to try and making your debut.
You progressed through the ranks of Nottingham Forest Football Academy, which is, I know it firsthand anyway, is first class. It's a breeding ground for talent. So you've talk us through your first goal, mate, because that's something special. Got to be, mate.
Yeah, first goal. You know, I got the call to say I'd been in and around the first team in pre-season. It was Gary Megson was the manager.
Right.
Tough manager, no nonsense. And but what I liked about him is his attitude was, if you're good enough, you know, you're old enough. So he just put me in. You know, there was older pros. I think he'd had a falling out with a few older pros.
Okay.
But he said Spencer's been scoring, so I'm going to put him in. And you know, I got my debut was Gillingham, and you know, I came on the pitch. I was on the bench, and that the adrenaline rush was so much that everything went right for me. You know, my touch. I think I was just super focused. And then sort of then came that moment, the most unlikely goal as well. It was like a header from a corner.
So your debut goal obviously is with Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Where were you playing? Were you at home or away, mate?
No, we was actually away.
Okay.
And I always, I thought I would like to score at home. Obviously, I don't care. I'd score anywhere.
Right.
But what I liked about the goal, it was in front of the Forest end. And as you know, the hardcore fans are the ones that travel away. The A block.
Oh,
A
right.
Block fans.
Oh, they're all
So,
there, mate.
yeah, to score there, and you know, my good friend like Wes was right next to me. He was probably trying to get it in, but I got and headed it in, and you know, to celebrate with them, and the whole team came and piled on. Like that's something I'd never forget. Like the adrenaline rush is like nothing you can ever repeat, really. So I actually, you know, didn't think it was real for a split second. Like, has this actually happened? I've been waiting 10 years for this.
Hard work. Just tell everybody who Wes is. Me and you know, but tell everybody who Wes is and
Oh,
what he achieved. Just on one sentence, mate. Go on.
Where's Morgan? If you're on there, but Premier League, Premier League winner as captain, which I was happy because it was for my home team as well, Leicester.
Right.
You know, obviously we're good friends from the academy. From you know, I met Wes when he was 16, and I always you know, he deserves everything. I always give him a shout out because he's a good guy, and he's put in the work, and he's you know he's made it late in his career, and he always told me, he says, I just love to get one Premier League appearance. So for him to win the Premier League as captain, you know, it couldn't happen to a better guy. And I'm lucky that it's one of my friends that has done that. I'm proud of that.
Well, when I'm next over there, mate, and I'll run into you, I'll me, you and Wes will have to have an orange juice, mate.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely.
Hey, during your career, obviously you started out with Forest. You actually played for, if I said across the river, which is true, at Notts County. Now, for the followers and supporters that don't know, the stadium at the front is. Well, you go ahead and tell everyone, Spence.
Well, that stadium there, obviously the red, that's Nottingham Forest there, and then across the river, beautiful stadium there, and then across the river is the black and white Notts County. They're known for being the oldest football team in the world. If I'm right, that's right, ain't it?
You're a professional club. There is some debate over it in some certain circles, but yeah, 1862. That's the year I was born, Spence. Yeah. So, hey, what was that like? Because obviously, Forest boy, 10 years, made your first team, scored goals.
Yeah.
And then part of your career, you're over the river, mate. You're next door.
Yeah. I'll be honest. That's a bit of it's a little bit of a regret because not a lot of people know I never got released from Forest. I actually left. I turned down a new contract.
Right.
And I was just impatient at the time. Like I'd had taste of first team football. I've been out on loan, and I was just impatient. And I just thought, you know, I love this. I love it here. I've been here since a kid, but I had the taste of playing regular. You know, I've been on TV a few times in live games,
right.
And rather than being on the bench or coming on loan, going on loan, coming back. As much as I love the club, I thought, you know, I'm gonna just take a leap here. And you know, Notts County, they came in, they was doing everything to get me, you know, offered me like a good deal.
Right.
But more the team was a good team. I knew some of the players, you know, the roster was a good team.
Right.
So I just thought, you know what, it's time for me to go and make my own name here and be like probably the main striker instead of a bit part striker, even though it's for a great club that's an honour to play for.
Sure. Absolutely, and the rivalry of the city of Nottingham between Notts County and Forest is great support for both teams. You mentioned briefly one of the reasons for transferring over to by your choice to Notts County. Was the a managerial change during that maybe influenced that decision as well from initially Gary Megson?
Well, a little bit, yeah. It was Colin Calderwood. He was right. Like he was another good manager, correct. But I just feel like not a criticism, but I don't think he was as strong as Megson in terms of putting young players in, as well as Megson didn't really care about the senior players, you know. Sure. So I feel like I got more chances under Megson, but I was injured. I got injured at the time as well under Megson. I dislocated my shoulder after playing about 10 first team games. So that set me back a bit. But by the time I came back, Colin Calderwood was manager, but he was a good coach. He always treated me well, you know. But I just feel like there was an influx of senior players where the younger players weren't really, you know, ready to get a chance. You know, players like John Paul Pittman as well. He was another good striker.
He could hit a ball.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's good guys. So you know, they didn't really get a chance. So that was another thing for me to think, you know what, I need to make my own name, despite them offering me a new deal.
Right. You know, there's nothing better than playing first team football, no matter where you're at. And when you was at Boston United, mate, you were like super prolific. Everything you touched just went in. Do you want to talk about your time at Boston?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it was a great time there. To be honest, they got me back in love with the game because, you know, things didn't really go to plan at Notts County. It never, like I say, I made some lifelong friends there. It was, the intentions were good, but it didn't really click there. The manager got sacked 3 months after I got there, and, you know, new manager came in, and then it didn't really work out. But Boston, you know, they got me, you know, playing, scoring, good group of guys, you know, winning mentality, good fans. And yeah, it was a couple of leagues lower, but I honestly, I didn't care at that time because I just wanted to play football, score goals and have a smile on my face, really. And that's what they done.
That's massive, no matter what level you're playing at. Even, you know, Boston United, that's a super level. That's a tough league to play in anyway, where you were.
And actually, I sorry to cut you.
No, good.
Even though it's a couple leagues lower, I've actually found games tougher at that level than playing in league football. Yeah. You know, because it is really, you've got to be strong physically, mentally. You know, the pitches ain't always perfect as the higher leagues. You know, so it's definitely tough down there.
So just to pass out to some of the younger generations that'll be watching this or maybe watch it later, from your experiences of starting at 10 years old and actually playing right through to where you are now at high level and international level. You talk about being tough and mental. No matter where you're playing, you love the game. What advice would you give them, Spence?
I would just say, just do everything to the best of your ability, because you don't know who's watching. And that's just not just on the pitch, that's off the pitch as well. So, you know, you might be doing well on the pitch, but you might not carry yourself right off the pitch. But on the pitch, you might not do that great, but they see your attitude, you know, your attitude towards training, or your attitude to the team, or your teamwork, or your attitude, you know. Someone's always watching you, so you don't know. That could lead to opportunities. So just do everything to the best of your ability on and off the pitch, I'd say. And then you can look yourself in the mirror and just be like, well, I gave it my all. But if you do give it your all, something will always come from that.
That is tremendous advice. And do you want to touch on? I know you're still playing. You got my support for the international team, mate. I need a shirt, by the way, mate. I need. A shirt.
They're like gold dust, you know, the Montserrat shirts. They're hard to put. We can't even get them. ask George, the kit man. George. Mate, ask George for a shirt.
give George a call. Put a word in for me, mate. Hey? And I know you've just moved in. If you want to touch briefly on, you've moved into a little bit of coaching with the kids and passing on your knowledge and experience, mate. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I started 2 years ago. I started my own coaching company back in Leicester called S10 Future Stars, and we do regular sessions every week, and we do camps, like holiday camps. But the special thing I feel like about my camp, it's all abilities. So, you know, there's nobody gets the door turned away to them. So whether you can't even kick a ball, or you are really advanced and you want to add bits to your game, where everyone's welcome. And that's what I think the best thing is, because the pleasing thing for me, I've come across kids who, like, they couldn't kick a ball. And then I've seen them 6-7 months later, they're controlling it, they're moving, they're having more confidence within themselves. and it's just having an effect on them. So, you know, if I can do that and it's within my community, then I'm happy with that.
I've followed up with that, Spence, and I've seen your work, and I know a few people that work in and around it, and you do a tremendous job with those kids in that community, not only developing their skills, but at the same time, you just portray that love for the game, which is probably bigger than developing your skills. Hey, Spence, Swizz, prolific goal scorer, mate. Get me a shirt. I can't let you go now because I always do a quick 5 questions, mate.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you just got to hit me, and we'll catch up later anyway. So,
Okay.
What team do you support, mate?
Manchester United.
Oh, all right. I'll get yeah. All right. I'll let you. Yeah. Okay. On a female team, you obviously follow female football. What female team do you look at as well, mate?
Female team. I've always been a fan of the Arsenal ladies. Arsenal.
Okay.
They've always had a strong team. I would as well. I've got to give my mum a shout out because she'd hammer me for that. My mum, she was playing. She's playing women's football from when she was young. She probably would have been in and around the pro game now if it was as developed. So that's where I get a lot of my advice from. It's not just my dad or, you know, my mom. She's been there every step of the way in terms of like advising me, even like tactically and what I should do. So my mom's a
fantastic
female footballer.
I'm going to catch up with her when I'm over in the UK, and we'll do a juggling challenge. And I know she's a good cook as well, so that's fantastic, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, as a kid growing up, role model player, favourite player?
It's a toss up. Whoa. Can I have two, please?
No.
You can't have two.
Go on.
Well, overall world is R9, Brazilian Ronaldo. But my UK person was Andy Cole. I always modelled myself on his game, and he played for Man United, won trophies. So Andy Cole and R9.
And he's a Notts boy, right?
Yeah. I just missed out on playing with him as well. That devastated me because he joined Forest
right. Yeah.
at the end of his career, and I just left that summer. So I tried to get some boots off him though.
We'll pop round his house when I'm over there, mate.
Yeah.
Give him a knock, mate. Yeah, he'll run a mile. Hey, favourite stadium you've played in?
Stadium. Yeah, I've got to just go with the City Ground. City Ground, and when it's a full house, I'm blessed enough to do that on a counter attack. Hearing that crowd going, you know, can't beat that.
If you could play in any stadium, anywhere, where would it be, mate? 80,000, 100,000, full house. Where you going?
Brazil National Stadium. Maracanã.
That's not bad, is it? That'd be like, oh, mate.
Yeah, hear the drums.
Oh, yeah. Hey, maybe.
Maybe.
Get a friendly going, mate. I'll give them a call.
We'll take Mexico instead.
Well, fantastic. Oh, just like it's in your blood. You know what I mean?
That's a great thing as well. Salvador as well. Salvador was a great atmosphere. Hostile, but we played there in November, 20,000, and it was a hostile but good atmosphere, great experience.
Brilliant. Last question. Are you a good cook? I know your mum is. Are you a good cook, mate?
I'm average. I do enough to get by.
What's your best dish that you do?
Salmon and pasta.
I'm all over that. Tell your mum.
Seasoned salmon though. It's not dry.
Okay. Get me the recipe. I'll tell you what, we'll put it on the website, mate. I'll have the recipe. All right. Hey, Swizz, Spencer, I can't thank you enough, mate. Thanks for sharing a bit of time with us. Good luck in the international game, mate. I do want a shirt. I can't thank you enough. Do you want to leave a message out there for our listeners and our followers? Then we'll let you go, mate. Yeah,
just stay in tune with Montserrat's progress. You know, the national team. We're a small island, but we've got a big heart and there's some big talent there. And hopefully we can, sort of, we've already rewritten the history books, and we just want to keep making history and then lay the foundation for the younger generation. So look out for us in the qualifier for the against Guatemala. Hopefully we can step it up from there.
Spence.